What celebrity have you lost all respect for? Why?
After watching Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath, any celebrity involved with the Scientology church is pretty off-putting.
But also talk about a celebrity that I didn't have much respect for, then gained some with Leah Remini. It cannot be easy doing what she and Mike Rinder are doing.
Mark Salling being a massive effing pedophile will never not upset me. I know pretty much the whole cast of Glee are problematic, but he's by far the biggest and grossest letdown. It taints any rewatches.
Steven Seagal, that fat bum, is a glorified scam artist.
I do love the story about him bragging to judo master Gene LaBelle about how he could get out of any hold until Gene finally obliged and put him in a hold he in fact could not get out of, and Steven poo his pants while he passed out trying to escape.
OJ. Many here are too young to realize just how beloved the juice was before. You know.
How could you shake hands with that asterisk murderer? With all due respect, that murderer ran for over 3,000 yards. Edit. I've been informed the quote is 11,000 yards.
Dr. Phil. Now I realize he just uses sick-minded people for his own profit. He brought the creator of Bum Fights on the show and kicked him off after showing up dressed as Dr. Phil. The guy said Dr. Phil and him did the exact same thing, Phil just hit it better. After seeing that clip, I have no respect for Dr. Phil.
Jeffrey Jones. In so many good movies. Somehow still working. Real piece of poo.
Oh right. The principal from Ferris Bueller whose collection of child pee inadvertently dragged Pee Wee Herman's name through the mud.
Steve Tyler, for convincing parents to sign a 14-year-old over to him. After a few years of DG, effing and an abortion, dumping her back on their doorstep at 17. Massive C.
I've heard, red folks lied about age etc, but yay, the whole rock star underage groupie gals being signed off on by their parents is wild. Tyler isn't alone in that camp.
I just today found out about the 2009 Polanski petition and the 100 celebrities that signed it, so all of them.
Kelly. Growing up, I loved his music. I would walk down the halls of school singing, "I'm a flirt." Now, I am ashamed that I was so into his music as a teen.
Chris Brown. Can't believe he's still out there making music like nothing happened.
For anyone who hasn't read it, this is the police report of Chris Brown's beating of Rihanna. Link. There are other incidents of him hitting women and men too. Just an overall vile dude.
Bill Cosby, cuz DGing plus raping women.
Guy was legit one of my heroes. SMH.
Haven't seen Jenny McCarthy yet, probably missed it, but man.
Rolf Harris.
Funny, not funny story. I sat on a jury for a child sex abuse case and the defendant got some lady, can't remember exactly who she was, but she ended up in the witness box making out she was important and gave a glowing character reference about what a great bloke the defendant was. Prosecutor asked her if she knew who Rolf Harris was, and when she said yes, he responded with, "Mr. Harris once got glowing reviews from the Queen." I was holding back laughter.
I scrolled pretty far and didn't see him. Danny Masterton. I seriously loved Hyde in that 70s show. Growing up I wanted to be like that also. He's a rapist piece of poo. Lost any and all respect I had for the guy.
This is such a good one. That 70s show is so damn good and he was awesome in it. Such a shame he's actually a poo stain in a puddle of piss. F that guy.
Ellen DeGeneres. She made Taylor Swift cry and practically bullied her on live TV, outed Mariah Carey's pregnancy. Need I go on? She treats her guests like trash.
James Charles. I think people who know him already know why. Edit. For anyone still wondering, he sexted a minor on Instagram, thought he was 25 but he's actually 22, doesn't change the fact that what he did was bad. There can be worse people than him, but I used to see him as a really nice and talented guy, and finding that out was just a disappointment, and as the question says, I lost respect for him.
The Contouring.
Betty White. Can't believe she went and died on me like that.
Nicki Minaj. Sticking by multiple pedos and rapists and intimidating, discrediting their victims is a real deal breaker.
I've never heard of this, could you give some examples please? Genuinely curious.
James Corden. I used to be a real big fan of him and his old Gavin and Stacey stuff, and I even liked the lesbian vampire movie too, even though a lot of people hated it. And then the stories of how he treats people, even his own family, started to roll out and I'm like, F this guy.
Chris Brown BC. He beat Rihanna and got away with it.
I used to love Kevin Spacey, and well, we all know what happened there.
I effing loved House of Cards. He could really play the manipulative villain very well.
IDC how good Roman Polanski is as a filmmaker. I cannot get over what he did.
Kylie Jenner for not paying her factory workers at all.
Joss Whedon. He was a hugely influential voice in my formative years. A man I looked up to when I had none in my real life. I even met him and he was everything I dreamed he would be. To say I was devastated is an understatement.
Doubly ironic because he was always held up as a feminist and writer of strong women.
I got pretty into the TV show Glee in 2020 and I didn't know most of the cast beforehand, so it's not like I was a fan of anyone, but after I heard about Lea Michele's ugly behavior I was truly appalled. I don't know how anyone can support her. In a nutshell, she disrespected a ton of people she have worked with, ever since she was a little girl. She threatened to fire people, belittled the staff, called them cockroaches, told a coworker she would poo in her wig, and other nasty things. Shame, since she's a talented singer. Edit. I'm seeing some replies about the actor who played Puck and I would just like to say that I'm completely aware of the disgusting terrible thing he has done, and I have no intention of defending him, or making his actions seem small compared to Lee's. I just mentioned her because I somewhat knew of her before I watched the show, and seen her in stuff. I literally have never heard of Mark, or even saw his face outside of Glee. A criminal who killed himself years before I found out he existed is hardly an answer to OP's question.
Ellen DeGeneres. Shane Dawson.
Ellen DeGeneres. Man, I remember how awesome I thought Ellen's energy adventure was, and she's also the voice of Dory and she just seems so nice, but turns out, she's a massive asshole.
I remember watching the special where a woman who had recently come out was in tears thanking Ellen for making it a little easier for her to be herself. Fast forward to now. So disappointing how she's acting.
Gwyneth Paltrow. I used to like her BC Iron Man. Now I know she's either a scam artist with no morals or absolutely bonkers with no morals.
Actually, I think she's more a bit bonkers and oblivious. She's the epitome of someone born on third base who thinks she hit a triple. I think 99% of the crap she pushes she actually believes in and uses herself, but she's too clueless to realize it's horsepoo and dangerous to people without the resources she obviously has, and she's too clueless to realize that other people don't have those same resources. Like that time she posted a list of clothes she thinks everyone should get for the next season, not poo she sells, just stuff she likes, and it was like $50,000 worth of clothes. It didn't occur to her that normal people can't drop 6 figures a year on clothes.
R. Kelly because among other things he peed on Aaliyah.
He urinated on a fellow artist's little niece who was 12 at the time and videotaped it. He very much so groomed Aaliyah and forged birth certificates to marry her while she was underage, but the peeing thing was on a different minor.
Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil, after seeing them promoting their dollar elf serving merchandise.
My dad went to school with Dr. Oz, and said he was a decent, smart person back then. And he was a brilliant, albeit narcissistic, cardiac surgeon back in the day. He would take hopeless cases no other surgeon would touch, to keep their numbers up, and actually fix them a lot of the time. Now, of course this was driven by ego, but I wish he had stuck to the saving lives part of his ego trip rather than the shilling non-cures part.
Matt Lauer. I used to watch effing NBC every single morning before school for a decade, and then he does something so grossly specific as to have a button under his desk to lock people in is just for real.
Charlie Sheen. The guy is a self-centered asshole. Had an entire show around him and was thrown out after turning on everyone. Then some other network just gave him a vehicle show where he barely showed any work ethic, and when his co-star called him out on it, he had her fired. Stop rewarding people for being assholes.
He had a few sexual partners while he was HIV positive and not telling them. Also domestic abuse and the Corey Haim RP allegation too.
Wendy Williams. She is just an ugly person on the inside in general. She has threatened and belittled staff, farted on national TV and blamed a chair. She likes eating Slim Jim's jailhouse style heating up with a Bic lighter. Sue cringy. She outed Method Man's wife for having cancer just to get ratings. Once she started catching heat, now she's claiming she may have dementia or mental disorders, and that's what caused her to do all the stuff she did. Total cop-out. Those are just a few things.
Melissa Gilbert. My mother loved her in the 70s, so one year I got her Gilbert's cookbook and surprised Mum by taking her to a book signing near where we live in the Midwest. She was over the moon excited to meet her. We finally get up to the table and Ms. Gilbert was rude to my mother, and hurried her through. Mum was crushed. I now will not watch anything with her in it. My mind goes back to the rude entitled woman she was.
Whoopi Goldberg defended Roman Polanski ass raping a minor by saying, "It wasn't RPRP. Go to hell, see."
I used to respect Mitch Hedberg. I still respect him, but I used to too.
I love you for this. I went to England to tell jokes, and I wanted to tell my Smokey the Bear joke, but I had to ask the English people if they knew who Smokey the Bear is. But they don't. In England, Smokey the Bear is not the forest fire prevention representative. They have Smacky the Frog. It's a lot like a bear, but it's a frog. And that's a better system. I think we should adopt it. Because bears can be mean, but frogs are always cool. Never has there been a frog hopping toward me and I thought, man, I better play dead.
Marilyn Manson. Obvious reasons.
Chrissy Teigen was an advocate for being kind to people online and then had been cyber-bullying Courtney Stodden amongst others.
Kevin Spacey.
Prince Andrew and the old school royals. They bloody knew SMH. Poor girls.
A more interesting question is, what celebrities should we have respect for and why? The overwhelmingly majority have done nothing meritorious and are just rich, famous, play their part to stay so, but are completely disconnected from actual real life.
Dolly Parton.
Thank you for watching. We upload new videos every day, so be sure to come back for more fun. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the video.